Hola, 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 es tu chico Joan, and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so for today's video, as part of the ongoing journey of me setting up my studio and setting up my literal studio apartment to act as kind of an end-all be-all for me to live in, for me to work out of, for me to produce videos out of, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take this space that you see behind me here and really make it something that is way more functional than it was before. So come join me as I do an extreme makeover, extreme DIY, you can do it yourself makeover to my tiny little nook. So here is a quick overview of my current situation, is what I'm going to call it. You can see there's just a mess everywhere. I don't really have any storage in this location for me to be able to store the video recording equipment or even any of the backdrop materials that I have accumulated. But you can see I've got really tall ceilings and terrible video skills. But that's just going to allow me to really take advantage of that vertical space, and I also have some metal beams. So I've got some pretty awesome magnets that I can take advantage of that hold a lot of weight, just to allow me to use this space as effectively as possible. Because you can see right now, it's essentially just a dumping ground for all of the materials that have accumulated. My sewing machine, my plant, my tripod, and the pipes that you see there are actually for the DIY for this video. Y'all, don't mind that bed. It's unmade. I get it. I was doing this video in a rush. Ooh, tall ceilings. Alright, let's get started. So first we're going to clean out the space. I've just gotten back from Home Depot. I've picked up some planks, 2 planks to be exact, and just laying them out, making sure that everything fits. And another dance break because I like to dance. I've also picked up some black iron pipes and some couplers and some flanges, which are going to be the flat base of it. So the plan for this is to drill some holes through the planks, then to use the threaded part and the cap to secure the plank through the black iron pipes. Alright, since I live in a studio apartment, the first thing that I always do whenever I'm carrying out a DIY project is to lay out this blue tarp, lay out the materials that I'm going to be using, and for this project I will be using those 2 wooden planks that I picked up. I also picked up some flat pieces of steel. They're just kind of like flat brackets, and all I'm doing is taking some measurements of the black iron pipes that I will be using. I decided to measure in 6 inches in and in the midway point for each of those 2 planks. And for this project, I decided that I wanted to have 6 feet in total, so 2 at each end and 2 in the center, just to offset any of the weight that might be put on top. And here I'm just trying to figure out some measurements of where those flat brackets should go in between each set of feet. So I took one of those flat brackets on there, and I'm just tracing out the circles in which the screws should be going through. I'm grabbing a drill bit and drilling partway through the wood to make sure that I don't have any wood splitting, and testing it out by drilling that first bracket in place and cleaning up after myself. I then eventually took a piece of tape, wrapped it around that drill bit so that I know that I was getting consistent depths in all holes. So next I'm taking a hole saw bit that is just wider than the diameter of the actual black pipe, and using that over the markings that I marked before, and drilling out those holes. And I'm doing it over a piece of styrofoam since I do have concrete floors. I don't want to actually damage them since I am a renter. Note to self, as you're drilling those holes, I would definitely say drill through the side that will be shown first, so that that hole is really nice and clean, because if you decide to use the hole saw bit to drill through the entire depth of the wood, you are going to have tear out as you're coming out the other end. I then took a palm router and just kind of rounded out those edges so they're not sharp. Now please enjoy me failing miserably at trying to put the shelf up together. And finally securing the threaded exposed part with those caps. All I'm doing here is just ensuring that all of the feet are leveled on there, since obviously not all of the floors are exactly the same height everywhere. And then just taking those materials and starting to put them in place. And more dancing, because dancing is fundamental. Also, just take a moment to appreciate these bomb dance moves that any uncle would be happy to have. Alright, so all I'm doing here is I'm taking the feet off of that planter because I wanted to see if it would look better lower, so that the background, as I'm recording intros and outros, it would look nicer. So that's all I'm doing here. And yes, this is how I'm testing whether or not the background would look nicer with the taller plant, the palm tree, or the lower plant, the fiddle leaf fig. Magic Mike Vegas review. Get at me. So after all that trouble, I decided that the taller plant would actually be nicer. So I'm just putting the feet back on. And some final touches and cleaning up before the big reveal. And there you have it, folks. Here is the final setup of my new studio. So as you can see, that shelf is coming in super duper handy. It's making a great display for all of the tools that I'm going to be using, you know, every single day in and out as I make these videos, and also just become super awesome plant stand. So what I've got here is a straw IKEA basket that I'm using to store any sort of extra fabrics, anything that I'm going to be kind of using random materials from. Then I also have these 3 baskets on there, and they have essentials. So this one has all of my sewing tools, threads, bobbins, all that stuff. This one here has my arts and crafts. It's got some cordage, some felt fabric, some origami sheets, and some washi tape, just for random projects. And then let's not talk about the last box. And here are all of those backdrops. I've just rolled them up, and they are really easy for me to grab onto, post them up. Then I've got my ring light, my fanny pack, microphone, sewing machine, and cutting mat and blades. And again, it's a beautiful place for me to put my fiddle leaf fig. And then I've got my camera bag that's got my drone and my gimbal as well. Sorry about that. And that is my tripod. And again, since I'm very, very lucky to have really high ceilings, I decided to go ahead and mount one of my super long leggy monsteras next to my lamp, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. And then on the other side, this is my actual workstation, so this is where I'm currently sitting. And you can see there, it's got my iPad, my MacBook, my extra screen and keyboard on there, just kind of the essentials for me to work out of. And it's perfectly situated across my TV, so if I wanted to watch some TV while I'm editing, I can. Alright, and that is all we have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and following me as I build this shelf and have it fall on me 7,000 times. That's life when you're building it by yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. If you want to continue to follow along the journey as I build out my studio and get this channel into some sort of good shape, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on my other platforms of social media, if you're not just my mom watching this video 10,000 times. Hola, mommy. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is @JoanLora. That's JoanLora. And I would keep my Twitter, but like I never use it. But if you want to see it, it's @JoanCLora on Twitter. That's JoanCLora. Bye bye. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.